I am pleasantly surprised with the level of sanctions from what I saw in the days at the very beginning of this conflict, but much more should be done and can be done. SWIFT sanctions should be applied to more banks, not only to a reduced number of banks, and more needs to be done to allow a move away from imports of natural gas and oil and Russian oil, because this is the most important source for the Russian war chest. Anything that can be done to limit that dependency in the short term is justified at this moment. We know that the European Union is engaged in the long-term decarbonization of its economy. That is very important in the long term. But right now, the most important thing is to be able to reduce those imports of natural gas and oil so that that income is not going to the Russian war chest.
Okay, since you mentioned natural gas and oil, let me bring this up. You're also the author of the book, Russian Energy Chains. Is this the Achilles heel for the Russians? I mean, how much of a blow was the cancellation of the final approval process for the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline project?
That was an important blow in the sense that it was a signal. So obviously the Nord Stream 2 pipeline had not come into operation yet, but it was a signal, and it has started a snowball effect. You have seen today how British Petroleum or BP has, at a loss, moved away from its investments in Russia. You have seen how other energy, Western energy companies are selling off their stakes in Russian companies. So it is an important blow as a signal to other Western companies that that kind of involvement is no longer tenable. But for many, many years, for decades, it was a very, very tempting participation in those Russian energy chains, those Russian energy export chains. And now Nord Stream 2 has given the signal that this is no longer acceptable.
Let's talk about the current situation. I know that you mentioned Europe's desire to forge ahead on a path of decarbonization. I understand that, but now with the sanctions and possible sanctions down the road, does Europe have the stockpiles it needs to maintain this level of economic output?
So, for example, Germany has, if I understand correctly, 2 months stockpile of natural gas. That's not very much in natural gas terms. So, but it's enough to bridge the end of the winter. So it's not going to replace all the natural gas and oil that is imported from Russia. Absolutely, it's not. But fortunately, we are moving away from winter. There will be less demand for natural gas. And I think if the right incentives are given, the imports of Russian natural gas can be lowered as well.
Margarita, tell me this. Do you think that the Russian president expected this much?
No, by no means. He did not expect this because for decades, Western European elites, Western European policymakers, Western European companies were part of a very, very profitable participation in the tempting embrace of the Russian energy chains. He did not expect this, by no means.